Project Apollo was the NASA program that resulted in American astronauts making 11 space flights and walking on the moon. The first 4 flights tested equipment used in the Apollo missions. 6 of the other 7 flights landed on the moon. The purpose of Apollo 1 was to demonstrate all space vehicle systems and operational procedures in as near a flight configuration as practical and to verify systems capability in a simulated launch. But it was very tragic because on January 27, 1967, a fire swept through the command module, killing astronauts Virgil Grissom, Edward White, and Roger Chaffee. During a pre-flight test, the 100% oxygen atmosphere mixed with bad wiring caused the fire. On October 11, 1968, Apollo 7 was the first successfully manned spaceflight. The purpose of the mission was to test the Command and Service Module, CSM spacecraft. The mission was separated into 2 major portions, the rendezvous maneuvers and SPS maneuvers. The rendezvous maneuvers were designed to check out procedures and methods to rendezvous with another spacecraft. The SPS phase checked out the ability of the SPS to perform multiple burns. Apollo 8 was the first mission to take humans to the moon and return them safely. This was used for testing to see if they could actually land humans on the moon by gaining operational experience and testing the Apollo system. The first manned flight of all Apollo lunar hardware in Earth's orbit and the first manned flight of the lunar module was Apollo 9. The purpose of this mission was to demonstrate crew, space vehicle, and mission support facilities performance during a manned Saturn V mission with the Command Service Module and the lunar module. It demonstrated lunar module and crew performance, and all objectives were accomplished. Apollo 10 was a staging mission of Apollo 11 without actually landing on the moon. Apollo 10 was the second to orbit the moon and the first to travel to the moon with the entire Apollo spacecraft configuration. It achieved the closest to the moon before Apollo 11. Apollo 11 was the first manned mission to land on the moon. The very first steps taken by man came from Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on July 20th, 1969. They were the first to return samples from another planet. Apollo 11 achieved its goal to perform a manned lunar landing and return the mission safely to Earth. Apollo 12 was the second manned mission to land on the moon and was planned and executed as a precision landing. The astronauts landed a lunar module within walking distance of the Surveyor 111 spacecraft, which landed on the moon in April 1967. The astronauts brought instruments from Surveyor 111 back to Earth to examine the effects of long-term exposure to the lunar environment. Apollo 14 landed on the Fra Mauro region of the moon using a modularized equipment transporter to haul equipment during 2 EVAs. They collected samples and took pictures near the cone crater. At the ending of EVA, the Apollo 14 commander, Alan Shepard, hit 2 golf balls on the moon. Apollo 15 was the 4th mission to land humans on the moon. It was also the first flight of the lunar roving vehicle, which astronauts used to explore the geology of the Apennine region. The LRV allowed Apollo 15, 16, and 17 astronauts to go further from the lunar module than in previous missions. Apollo 16 was the 5th mission to land men on the moon. It was also the 2nd flight of the lunar roving vehicle. Apollo 16 landed in the Highlands area, which was not yet explored. This mission was the first to use an ultraviolet camera and spectrograph on the moon. Apollo 17 was the last Apollo mission to land men on the moon. It carried Harrison Schmitt, the only trained geologist to walk on the lunar surface. Apollo 17 traversed the greatest distance using the lunar roving vehicle and returned the greatest amount of rock and soil samples.